Hi everyone, Lacey Artemis here with a video that's going to be a combination of a rant and a video essay, I guess you could say. It's something that I've been thinking about for a little while, and I've been wanting to talk a little bit more at length about. And as an artist and content creator, I am on a lot of different social media platforms, which feels necessary to promote what I do. And um, but also, obviously, I'm on some of these platforms as like a personal, like an independent citizen sort of thing, and some of them are like a mixture. Like my Twitter is kind of a mixture across of like personal and brand kind of thing. But I've just been thinking about the differences in how I use these platforms and how I feel about them, in that contrast between being like just an individual private person and being this public content creator. Um, and just looking at each platform and kind of how it works, how I interact with it, how I feel about it, and just wanting to kind of ponder some things there, because I don't think that I don't know how many people else out there kind of do the brand creative stuff and the personal stuff. Um, anyways, so the first platform that I kind of want to talk about is Facebook, because it kind of all the ones I'm going to talk about, Twitter might have been out before Facebook. I don't remember now, but Facebook was the first one that I was on of all the current ones. And Facebook has gone through so much change since it was founded almost 20 years ago. Now that's baffling to even think about, because I got on Facebook in my second round of college, I believe. Yeah. And at the time it was still very, very new. And back then Facebook was still more the actual, like, the thing that you connected with your friends over, like, because you would connect with like friends, classmates, coworkers maybe. And you would actually, there was like the wall and the feed, and it was like, this was like well before like memes and like sharing, like lots of, like, people could still share videos and articles and things. But at that time it was still, I feel like, more about actually posting about your life and like keeping up with your friends. That's really what it kind of started out as. And over time, as Facebook has evolved many, 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 many times, I feel that it has changed a lot. And now, for me personally, when I go to my Facebook feed, especially now during this pandemic, there's almost no personal posts. And it might be that the algorithm is only showing me certain things, but when I go to my main news feed, I'm seeing predominantly stuff about, obviously, pandemic related or vaccine related, like news stuff about, here in Ontario, Canada, our premier is really doing a terrible job. And so there's a lot of news around that. And so for a while now, it's been predominantly like kind of sad or frustrating or just kind of bad news. There's not like, I get that a lot of people aren't super happy these days, and there's lots of valid reasons not to be. But as a platform that started as where I kept in touch with my friends and I felt connected, Facebook is very much not that anymore. In the last little bit, the last kind of couple of weeks, and especially the last few days, I'm barely even looking at it anymore. I might refresh it once or twice a day, and there's nothing there that's like that makes me want to keep looking at it. Like, I feel like I could pretty well just, actually quit. And I have talked about quitting Facebook for years, and I've been jealous and envious and admiring of people who have either quit or deactivated or whatever. And so now it's like, oh, so now it's finally at the point where it's just no longer serving me. It's not something that, if I spend time and energy on it, that I feel like I get something back for that. It's just an energy suck. And so and I know that, like, there's this kind of a bit of a joke that, like, once the boomers got on Facebook, that was kind of the beginning of the end, because it became uncool. And now, younger people don't really want to be on there. And younger people are much more on like Instagram or TikTok or other newer platforms. And so Facebook really does feel like it's kind of dried up, and like its other advantages were events, because no other website really, like, there's Meetup, but Meetup doesn't have the same, like, it's not the kind of thing where like everyone's there. So Facebook had the events and it had the groups. Like it was literally that it had marketplace, and then they added dating eventually, and I don't know what else they've got on there. So Facebook was kind of the one-stop shop for everything. Everyone was on there, or most people were on there, and everything was there. And so if you left that platform, you really got disconnected from a lot of stuff. But now, like, no events are happening because of lockdown and pandemic, and there's still the marketplace, but people are a lot more, careful and leery about wanting to like buy and sell stuff from strangers. Um, and so it's definitely like radically kind of changed that. And like, I know a lot of people still use it, but again, the way that people are using it now, it doesn't feel the same. And for me lately, I've been seeking like connection. I've been wanting to know what's going on with my friends. I've just wanted to like know about people, and not really news, and not really memes. Like I don't mind that stuff, but like I've had my fill of that stuff. I miss people and I want to connect with people. And so Facebook has just, it's not for me anymore. And I even, like, what I was going to say with younger people not really being on there, it's more of an older person platform now. So even as like a creator and as a brand, it's like I still post my stuff on there. Like when I have new episodes of my talk show, or if I'm going on Twitch and stuff, I still do post there sometimes, because like I still feel like I should have something there for people, whoever is actually still looking at it. But it really feels like very low priority in the grand scheme now. And I'm curious what's going to happen with Facebook, if because there's never been a viable Facebook killer. There's all these other platforms that pop up, but nothing that kind of recreates that kind of that has like everything, that has everyone and has everything. So in terms of like as a person, I'm not really enjoying Facebook. I don't really care that much about it anymore. It feels really like it's not serving my needs or my desires. And as a brand, it feels very irrelevant. I'm on there because I feel like I need to be, but even that is very weak. Like if I stopped posting on there, I don't feel like it would really make a big difference in my kind of web footprint and people finding me. I kind of feel a bit like just being on these platforms at all, even if you don't post that much, but just having your profile there, if people look you up and they can find it and it links to your website, sometimes that is better than nothing. And so then, there's Twitter, which was kind of the next one. And that's one that I think I used to actually have a personal Twitter and a kind of business Twitter. I don't remember anymore. I know I did that with Instagram, and then after a while, I just kind of abandoned the personal Instagram because like I just don't post pictures enough. It's not really. I was much more focused on like my art and what I was doing. So, anyways, with Twitter, as a person, you can have an account, and you can either have it be like a pure brand account, pure like based on an IP, or like I have accounts for like my book and for my show and different things, and that's kind of all that gets posted there. And then there's like my main account, which is kind of a combination of me posting about myself sometimes in my life and what's going on, but also things that I'm doing or have done. And that one's a very like kind of melded together. And Twitter is like Facebook really isn't very real time. You can turn on notifications from your favorite people, obviously, and get the updates when they post. But Twitter is more actually like you can kind of create a list, and you can put like your people you actually know, and you can put them in a list, and then that list will like kind of automatically update, or you can refresh it, and you will actually see the newest stuff from these people. And the algorithm, I think, still affects your main feed more. But if you create customized lists, then that's closer to me to what Facebook used to be than anything else right now. So I've been kind of doing that. But even Twitter, again, it's partly because everyone's just kind of depressed and burnt out, and we're just all stir crazy, and there's not really much going on. So there's not much to post about. And usually when you get in that place, it's like, there's memes, there's like news, there's videos, there's, making fun of or criticizing, public figures for missteps. There's all that kind of stuff. And like, that's all valid. I'm not saying people shouldn't or can't do that, but again, for me right now, like I can feel I am looking for connection. I am looking to have as close to real-time interactions with other people meaningfully as possible. And Twitter kind of gives that, but like better than Facebook, but not quite the way that I want. And I have been posting on there when I go on Twitch, or I have posted on there when I have episodes of the show. I don't honestly know how much of a difference that makes. I know that I have more followers on Twitter than I have on any other platform, but again, I don't, because I don't get into the analytics stuff really, so I don't know what effect, if any, that is actually having, aside from maybe my friends having a better chance of seeing, oh, Lacey's on Twitch, I should go watch. And because I haven't been as consistent about creating new content and stuff lately, and I often go there and I want to post like personal stuff or post just kind of thoughts or feelings about my life, and a lot of times it just feels like, what's the point? It just feels kind of, it doesn't feel satisfying a lot of the times. I'll start to write a tweet and then I'll just be like, nah, never mind, and I'll just delete it. And so that's, these old mainstays have kind of, I feel like, let me down in a way, like not, but sort of. So then there's Instagram, which is again kind of the older one that's been around for a while. And so that one, I think my struggle there is because you can't just like post, you have to post an image of some sort. And a lot of people post pictures and they don't have much description in them. And like for me, when I'm posting on social media in kind of that form, like Twitter and Facebook, I tend to be more wordy. I tend to write more. I'm articulating thoughts. And so on Instagram, because I focus more on posting like art or sometimes like kind of educational stuff, or like when I post the posts for my show, it's I put a little bit more detail in there, but like I don't feel really like casually posting on there like some people do. I'm not big on selfies. I don't do food stuff. Like I'm not a hiker or anything like that. So for me, I can't, it's not, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say really. But so like as a creator and a brand, Instagram is good because I am more visually oriented and I do create a lot of visual stuff. But like as a person using it's not really, I used to like it a lot more. And again, I feel like it's changed in kind of how it runs. And I guess in part that's also like who I follow and who follows me. And again, the algorithms. And so it's just, again, feeling kind of like let down and underserved, but it's partly my own expectations, I guess, and how I want to use something or what I want to get out of it. I don't use Snapchat at all, so I can't really speak to that one. I know that some people do still use it, but I will move on and talk about TikTok, which is much newer, but is kind of the most popular one, I guess, right now. It's kind of really emerged the last couple of years, and so as somebody I know keeps telling me, it is the best platform for organic reach and an organic kind of growth and new exposure right now. And so I have been making an effort to try to post on there a little bit more, and that feels kind of like Instagram but in video form, because you have to post a video of some sort to make a post, and you can't put a huge description in, so it's reliant more on either text that you put on the video or in the video, or what you say in the video. And a lot of the things that I want to just put on there, because again, I don't really have a lot of time or energy to do like skits or do kind of silly things. Like I've been finding, Twitch as an aside has been really great for me because it's a longer form and it's more free form, and I can kind of explore thoughts and flesh them out kind of a bit like this, or I'm doing a longer form thing. But on TikTok, like if I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this topic, but I often have more than just 60 seconds worth to say on topics. So I have to like literally kind of not script it out, but I have to sit down and kind of make like points, and then I have to like practice run it. And it usually takes me, at least 10 to 20 practice runs before I feel like I've got the idea encapsulated and I've got the wording right, and it's not too super fast, and it feels like I'm comfortable posting it. And so that's what I've been doing. And so a lot of my TikToks are literally like, 59 seconds, and I kind of rush through them a little bit. And sometimes I have to strip the idea down a little bit more. And I'm doing it because I kind of feel like I want, like I need to. I do also want to a little bit, but I wish that, if TikTok could be even like 90 seconds would feel a little bit easier for me to work with. But even on there, like that, because that almost feels also like YouTube light in a sense, because you're going there for content that's already there. There are some live broadcasts, obviously, but you're going there for content that's already there, and you're trying to just find stuff based on your interests, or like learning what you like and feeding you more of that. And there was a time when I would have been much more into that, and right now I honestly don't like, okay, I shouldn't say I don't feel, I was gonna say I don't feel the need to just sit here and just like passively absorb a ton of content. I say that, meanwhile, I absolutely do like sit now and just watch Twitch for hours every day, or you know, kind of maybe just listen to it. But it's like, I'm not, it's just, I guess with YouTube, it's like, okay, there's the, I can go and like, if I want to watch like a video about a specific topic, or I can search that, I can find a channel that I like, and I can kind of watch, and it's like these videos, and they're almost kind of like episodes of a show. And TikTok is not quite like that. It's a lot more kind of random and sporadic, and I just find that I haven't been able to really just sit there and just watch video. I know some people say they do that while they're bored at work, or they're, you know, in the bathroom, or they're like on transit or something. They just sit there and they just watch TikTok videos while they're waiting. And again, nothing wrong with that. If you do that and you enjoy it, power to you. That is not kind of where I'm at with things. And so trying to find, again, as a user, like I do talk, like I do address some stuff on TikTok that is from my personal life. But I try to make it, you know, like more broadly applicable, and kind of reach out to more people. And sometimes I'm also, you know, promoting my actual own things. So it's a bit of a mixture, but it feels, again, I'm on there more because I feel like I want to have a presence there, and I want to give people a chance to kind of find me and see my personality and hear what I have to say. But I'm not, I don't know, I haven't spent enough time with it to know how many people use it as a like really talking about their personal life kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't know about that. So I get the sense that for a lot of people, it is that they're trying to become like, you know, TikTok stars, or they're trying to kind of establish like an identity or a brand, like not a brand, but like they're trying to like, that's sort of an idea. And so it's, again, it's just figuring out what the platform is, what it's sort of good for, what it does, how people use it, the different possible ways that it can go. Because again, you can do really like highly scripted, finely edited, well-produced like skits. You can just do stitches or duets. You can do like what I do, which is just like one take vlogs basically, because that's just what is easiest for me. And there's all these different ways. And I guess, you know, if it depends what people are looking for. Some people might like a variety of different things. Some people might prefer certain kinds of stuff. But it's just about kind of finding what works for you, and just, you know, occupying that niche, and just letting it kind of do its thing. And so that kind of brings me to Twitch. And again, like talking about this, well, Twitch and YouTube, I guess, this idea of, again, for me right now, here in Ontario, Canada, in Toronto, we have been effectively on lockdown in some capacity since December, since Boxing Day. So now we're like literally almost at 4 straight months. And, you know, winter's hard enough. Then you add lockdown on top of that, and not being able to see your friends, and everyone's like already kind of, you know, depressed and burnt out, and just not having a great time. And so we're all kind of like, you know, climbing the walls and stir crazy and down. And it's, and you know, I'm probably doing better than a lot of my friends right now, overall, all considered. And I don't even like to say that, because like that makes me think, oh, I am struggling as much as I am. That means like other people are struggling even worse, and that makes me feel bad for them. I wish I could help them, but it's like I'm at the point now where I'm also needing like kind of support. And so again, feeling just kind of lonely and disconnected, and wanting to just address that, and missing people and missing that genuine interaction, and that makes you feel less alone, and that makes you feel like you kind of matter more. And so that's what I've been seeking. And because I haven't been kind of creating as much content lately, I have been sort of approaching these different platforms in more of that personal, I'm trying to connect way. And so again, that's how I've been seeing like, okay, Facebook's not doing it for me. Twitter's kind of doing it for me a little bit. Instagram's not really doing it for me. TikTok is more just I'm doing that because again, part of the like being promoting myself and stuff. But it's not really a platform. I don't feel like it's a platform for connecting with people in that kind of way that I'm talking. And then of course there's Twitch and YouTube. YouTube is very passive. There are people on there that you can kind of find and follow and appreciate their personalities and what they have to say, but it's definitely not as like interactive a medium. With Twitch, it's been this kind of whole new experience and revelation for me in a way. It's kind of like I listen to a lot of podcasts already. I've been listening to podcasts for years and I actually prefer them over music a lot of the time, for a variety of reasons. But Twitch is kind of like, all these like on demand at your fingertip live podcast talk show kind of things. And you get to like, meet new people. And if they like doing chatting streams, then you can kind of interact with them and kind of get to know them a little bit and get to know some of the other people in their chats. And sometimes it's really like you can really get like finally engaged with the streamer, and other times you're kind of just more part of like a group that's all talking and all being responded to. But of course, now that I've also been doing it myself, it's like this exciting thing where, and I'm kind of noticing like I actually, despite being an introvert, maybe it's the like the isolation, all the lockdowns and stuff, but like I have been really enjoying just like talking a lot lately, and sometimes I even just go for walks outside and I just like have my voice memo thing open and I'm just kind of thinking out loud, talking to myself, processing things, and sometimes that really helps me. And so knowing that some people do that on Twitch is like sort of like mental health or just kind of, just to make people feel a little bit less alone. And that's, I think, really cool. And even though Twitch is not a social media platform in the same sense that like these other ones are, it does provide something that these other platforms don't really. And like, sort of like what I've said, each of them has its sort of own special kind of niches and stuff. I just really have been liking. So essentially Twitch has been meeting that need for me, both as like a viewer of kind of feeling less alone and kind of having interaction and connection, but also as a creator, but being able to go on there and play a game or make art or do something and have people pop in and say hello and kind of talk to them a little bit. And it's not the same, like it's not the same as having like a phone call or hanging out with a person like live and you're both talking, but it is still like live interaction and it makes you feel less alone for both people usually. So that's really cool. And I feel like it's a little bit ironic that social media, traditional social media for me right now is really not making me feel connected at all. It's actually having a very opposite effect. It's making me feel more isolated, more lonely, more disconnected. Like I know there's people out there, but I don't feel like I can connect with them in the way that I'm craving. And I know a lot of other people are struggling with this too. And then, so then there's these other places like, I guess people who do like Instagram Live or maybe like Twitter Live, like just any kind of live platform, that's really powerful right now when everyone's stuck at home, kind of isolated, and just, I mean, I have this unfortunate issue that I often feel like I have to earn my like kind of fun time or my free time or my downtime. And even doing this vlog, like I kind of had to fight against myself a little bit because I'm like, anyways, I won't get into that. But so I know for a lot of people, they can just like say, okay, I can't go anywhere. I can't do anything. I'm just going to play video games, or I'm just going to watch Netflix, or I'm just going to whatever. And, play games on their phone or watch TikToks all day or something. And again, that's fine if that you can do that. And I struggle with that. I can't just, I can't just sit and just like kind of have fun all day. Maybe that sounds weird to some of you watching this, but it's sort of, I guess, this ambitious core of mine that I feel like I want to be accomplishing things. I want to be spending my time on stuff that, hopefully will kind of like last and matter. And it's left over from like when I was in college. When I was in college, I used to play a ton of video games, and I kind of reached a point with that where I was just like, I've spent, however many years playing God knows how many hundreds of hours of Halo and other things. And like, what do I have to show for that time? Like, I'm not saying it wasn't fun. It was fun, but I looked back at it and I was like, that was a lot of time that I spent doing something that didn't really build a skill, and I don't really like have like fond memories of it in a way. Like, again, it was fun at the time, but I don't look back and be like, man, those Halo days, they were so great. It's kind of just like, no, it's this time that I wish that I had spent a little bit more of doing something that kind of lasted or had a lasting effect. I guess the lasting effect of it was that, like, okay, you had all your fun there. You had way too much fun and not enough other stuff. And so in the years since then, it's been at top of my mind, front of my mind, to want to make a point to spend some of my time on things that will last, that will be kind of like a legacy, or that I can look back on and be like, yeah, I did that, and maybe that influenced someone, or that taught someone, or that entertained someone, or made them feel less alone. And those are all things that I want. And I still play games. I still do kind of fun stuff for my own sake, because that is important. But yeah, it's so. I guess the whole end of this idea, I kind of am winging it in large part. I kind of know what I want to say, but I'm also kind of going off the cuff a fair bit. But it's just, yeah, social media to me, and I guess I'm curious to hear what other people think, because I know I've expressed this in a couple of places, and a couple of people have echoed back at me like, yeah, like social media really isn't making me feel more connected or whatever right now. And so, like, I know I'm not the only one. And again, I'm curious how much the people that use social media only as like just an individual person and not as a creator or an artist or something like that, or in how much the people who maybe only use social media as far as like promoting their art or their creations or their content, and they don't use it personally at all. Because again, I feel like it can be a very different experience for both. And even though to a degree my like brand and my content is kind of me and is my personality and my ideas and things, it's still a different thing for me to be and talk about myself. Like when I'm on Twitch, it's like I do talk about my life, and it's funny because I get a little bit paranoid sometimes before I upload it to YouTube, and it's like, did I say anything in there that I maybe don't want to like stay out there for anyone to just kind of find later? And usually not, but it's, I don't know. Again, I don't really have a clean ending for this. It's just, again, it was a kind of a rant that I'm frustrated by social media not feeling like it's accomplishing what, and again, it's not. Like, this is the thing I should say is social media, like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they're actually meant to like harvest your data. That is really their true purpose, and it's under the guise of helping you connect with people, which they technically do, but not in the ways that they kind of like market as, like the way that they claim they do. So I think you have to take a lot more initiative these days, or at least I'm finding I have to take a lot more initiative to actually find connection and actually, get what I'm looking for. And after years of relying on these platforms way too passively and getting into a point where I'm like, okay, they're not serving me anymore, and I have this need and it's just getting bigger and bigger, I gotta figure it out. And then I do find that need somewhere else, and it's like, okay, now these things are not serving me. I don't want to expend much time and energy into them as a result. So what do I do with them then? Again, I kind of have to keep them because promotion, but otherwise, I've been kind of happily on like Discord, and Discord's another one I haven't really talked about that. I don't know if you would consider that social media. It's become very more popular lately. It's the one place that I think the most of my friends are on besides Facebook. And everyone can have like their own server, which can get kind of overwhelming. But it's also this place that you can have really cool little communities, and you can have like chat rooms, and you can have themed stuff, and a lot of them are connected to people's, to kind of brands like YouTubes or Twitches or TikToks or Instagrams. Like it's, it's kind of this thing. And I do, it's also not always real time, but it can be sometimes. You can sometimes get into real time chats, and you can obviously private message with people and do video calls and voice calls. But yeah, just all of the like the main platforms kind of have been letting me down, have been not meeting my needs, not feeling making me feel served. And so yeah, I've had to take more initiative, and it's like I said, it's been interesting to just reflect back on it as like, the personal user and the business user, and kind of almost wish that like there was that there was like platforms specifically, like, there's LinkedIn, which is pretty much business and stuff like that, but almost wishing that like there was like the personal social media platforms and then the business social media platforms, and it makes sense to have them kind of overlap, but it's a little frustrating to me, I guess, right now, that kind of like blurred line between the two. And so I guess I'm curious to hear what anyone else might think about this, if you have similar experiences or just have your own thoughts on the issues. Because I know a lot of people, like I said, right now, a lot of people are feeling isolated and disconnected and lonely. And, I know a lot of places in the world that have handled the pandemic and the vaccine rollout better are not in constant lockdowns and have been able to get back to a somewhat normal life again. So, that's awesome for you. Congratulations. That certainly must make it easier. But yeah, I guess, and I wonder how many people are taking this experience to be like, you've really underappreciated in-person contact with people before. And like, you're like, oh, now I'm going to actually really make the effort to like make plans with my friends and go hang out in person and go do stuff, because I really miss that so much. And social media is not a complete substitute. I think that's kind of how I'm going to feel. But again, who knows? Like, things are weird right now. And when things get back to closer to normal again, maybe I will revert back to my old patterns like I often do. Hopefully not. But yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess I'm just kind of really rambling off the top of my head now. So I think I've said more or less what I wanted to say. I've kind of asked the questions I wanted to ask. And yeah, I'd like to hear what you, the viewer, think or feel or are curious about on this topic. So with that, thank you for watching. Once again, I am Lacey Artemis, aka Artemis Creates. You can find me on all the platforms, as I probably just, and on Twitch and YouTube and Spotify and kind of everywhere. ArtemisCreates.com is my website. Thank you for listening. I hope that you got something out of this.